it's Kris.
And I'm Wyatt Elliott from Notebook Entertainment.
And this is Horrorland News. Alright, so we've got another big week coming up. For our channel, Notebook TV, on Tuesday we're going to do our review this for Day of the Dead, finally.
It's finally coming, guys.
We have a lot to say.
It took us a little while, motivation to watch it.
It's not
but
good.
But once we watch it, I like
Right, it's not good, but it is good. Like, I don't know what...
I don't know.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for our full review. So, we have things to say.
Right. And then Wednesday, as usual, we have Thanks We Hate It, and it's going to be worst decisions by horror characters.
Seems kind of like a lot of options there.
Oh, so many. Like, every movie is full of bad decisions. So we're going to pick the worst bad decisions.
Oh, shit.
And then Thursday, because we didn't get to it this week, we're going to do the filling plot holes of Jason Scared of Water. That's raised in Freddy vs. Jason. We'll be doing that on Thursday, so.
And a little behind the scenes announcement, we are investing in a teleprompter, so I think that'll make Slasher Advocate come out a lot faster. This poor thing has to memorize her entire script, which she knows she has to do this when she writes it.
And I still write it like a crazy person.
I feel so bad for her. So we broke down, we bought a tablet, and now we're going to invest in that.
If you want to see something, ask him for the behind the scenes of Slasher Advocate, because you're going to see me getting mad at me for writing the things that I write.
I'm going to have to release behind the scenes footage because she's talking and all of a sudden it's goddamn fucking
I know, I get Tourette's.
Or the best ones is then when her brain is fried at the end, she goes, I'm done.
I'm done.
And just walks away. Like, nope.
I'm done for today. All
right.
So let's get into actual news here. We've got TV Roundup.
No TV and no beer make Homer something.
So we watched the first episode of Archive 81 and it was so good.
Really good.
So good.
We're going to stop this when we're done and go watch some more.
Right. It was so good.
I want to know what happens next.
It is. It leaves you, because it is slow moving, but in a way that I was so tense the entire episode because I'm like, something's going to happen.
Right. There's something in the way the acting and the music in the background that just keeps you tense the entire time.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, Empty Man... I'm going to go back to that because fuck that movie. But Empty Man, you're sitting there the whole time, nothing's happening, and you're like, oh my god, something happened. Whereas this, nothing's happening, and you're saying like, oh my god, something's going to happen.
Yeah, there's something different in the direction, the editing, or maybe it's the performance, but it just leaves you, I think a lot of it's the music too.
Yeah,
but
that helps.
It just leaves you on edge the whole time. So therefore, the hour, 45 minutes, whatever it is, just flew by.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Me too.
And then here's an announcement. Fatal Attraction series going to Paramount Plus. We've heard a little bit about that before. But Joshua Jackson has just signed on to play Dan.
Okay.
To Lizzie Kaplan's, she's playing Alex.
Interesting.
Yeah. I like both of those actors. I'm not a fan of Fatal Attraction, but I like both of those actors, so I might give this
It was
series
a very important movie for its time.
Yes.
And now there's so many other things out there that,
it's almost like people who might not know the original movie are going to be like, this is a ripoff of You. You know?
Right.
Like,
it's not.
It's not.
Yeah. And that's why I have a feeling why they're doing the TV show, because they're trying to market off of You.
Probably.
You know, is my guess.
Probably. But whatever works, I'm down for serial killers and stuff, so
sure.
I like crazies.
Could be interesting.
And then our third show...
As long as no bunnies die this time.
Right.
No
Come
bunnies.
on.
Come on, guys.
Come on. I think we can update at least that part of the story. It's highly uncomfortable.
Right. Have her kill one of his children or something.
I mean, so our third show we want to talk about this week is one that everybody's talking about, but we haven't gotten to because we don't have Showtime, but we're going to get the free trial and have to check the show out because everybody's talking about Yellow Jackets.
Yeah. And when she mentioned we need to watch this, I was like, I've heard so much about it, but I have no idea what it's about.
Yeah, so for those who might not know, because you don't have Showtime, you haven't been able to read about it or whatever, it's about a team of high school girls soccer players who survive a plane crash deep in the Ontario wilderness. And the series tells their descent into cannibalistic clans while also tracking the lives they have attempted to piece back together while they reveal the truth about their survival 25 years later. So it's like a now and then where they have the younger actors and then they have the older actors. And from what I understand, Christina Ricci and Juliette Lewis play two of the older characters, and I love both those actresses. So
that's awesome.
I'm down to watch that for sure. Especially, I love cannibals. I mean,
I hope she has a bigger part than she did in the Matrix Resurrections. It was like blink and you miss her. Like, I had to almost go back and, like, that was her. It was such a small, like, why? I don't know. Whatever.
That movie.
I hate that movie.
Yeah, that movie is not that great anyway.
We may have to do a review of that. I hate that movie so much.
So let's get into our news section.
Dun, 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 dun. Wait, we don't have a
I don't think so.
Oh, well.
All right. So we're going to start with the Scream weekend box office. Killed it.
Yeah,
Killed
sure
it.
did.
Horror has been killing it at the box office lately.
Yeah, it killed Spider-Man's run.
Right. Well, I mean, Spider-Man made a lot more money.
Yeah.
But we're still at the beginning of the run, so we'll see. But it did 34 mil domestically and then 52 million globally, which is amazing for a horror opening.
Yeah, because it only had a budget of like 24 million.
Right. So yeah, it definitely made its budget back,
and
then some because it's still in theaters.
Oh, it's still in theaters.
It's going to be
for
a while.
Yeah.
But I think I finally figured out what my issue with this. Because if you've seen our review, we did not give a very favorable review. And we gave our reasons why. But I was sitting there going over for Slasher Advocate. I was thinking, okay, how am I going to defend these two assholes?
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, slight spoiler. I'm not going to say names, but
Right.
so I'm not going to spoil anything.
That's fair.
But how am I going to defend these new killers? And so I'm trying to come up with, because to not spoil, but the way they come together to be killers is stupid in the movie. And so I'm trying to come up with a defense, and I'm sitting there like, the only defense is the movie. They blame the movie. Their motive for doing this is the movies. And so I think that's what bothers me most. I finally figured out about this new Scream movie is we've just had 4 movies in the series saying, no, movies aren't to blame. And this one says, oh yeah, these guys are definitely only doing it because they didn't like Stab 8. Like,
yeah, and
and they wanted to be able to inspire a better sequel.
Which I don't mind that so much. I still think a lot of it's the execution, but I understand your argument about how as they're finally blaming the movies basically for it, and I never thought of it that way. I don't like that.
It went from movies don't make psychopaths, movies make psychopaths to more creative to, oh yeah, movies make psychopaths, and it's not even that creative because they're just doing everything we already saw.
Yeah. And the thing is I guess they're not saying the movies made them psychopaths. They are being psychopaths to better the movies. Right. If that makes sense.
And that's even worse almost to a point. Like, So yeah, I think that's my problem is Scream 5 delved so far away from the core of Scream, which was the movies are not to blame. So that, I think, is the sticking point for me, and it's going to be really hard defending these assholes and when I have to defend Scream 5.
Yeah, well...
But I wanted to get that off my chest, that I finally figured out what the main thing I think is that I have a problem with.
We did... because it's going to come to Paramount Plus on February 28th. And I think we're both going to watch it.
I'm going to have to rewatch it before I write that Slasher Advocate.
I feel like it could be one of those movies that could get better the more you watch it.
And I think we said that during our review. I admitted that, upon further viewings, it might grow on me. But first reaction was not good.
No, and that doesn't mean it's going to become like one of our favorites or anything.
I still think it's the worst Scream movie.
Yeah.
And if it weren't for the 3rd season of the Scream TV series, I would say it was the worst Scream thing ever. But the 3rd season of the Scream TV series and the little TV movie they did between seasons 2 and 3, those can both go to hell. Yeah. So let's move on, shall we? All right, so our next story, the GLAAD Media Awards, and if you don't know what those are, the annual awards honoring media for fair, accurate, and inclusive representations of LGBTQ people and issues. So they have nominated Chucky for Best New TV Series.
Rightfully
I can see why. It's nice to see a non-toxic gay relationship, like a lot of relationships that are gay. Like I was comparing it to on how to Get Away with Murder. I really liked Oliver and what's-his-face's relationship, but God, they were toxic for each other. Like it was a toxic relationship, but I loved it. So it was nice to see kind of a more innocent relationship. And then of course, Don Mancini is gay, and he's said in interviews that the inspiration for Jake was pulled directly from his life. So I think it's good for him to see, okay, yeah, you put yourself on film and they liked it,
Which, again, I think it's also nice seeing how young they were, and they actually used real young actors to also portray them. Because, let's face it, that's the hardest time probably in your life when you're figuring this stuff out and stuff. And I think it was handled so well.
Yep. And you got to see both sides. You got to see the parent that didn't, accept it, and you got to see the parent that did.
Yeah.
So you did get both sides of that issue as well. And yeah, I think it's really great representation.
Yeah, I'm so happy that they got nominated for this because honestly, I didn't see any better representation all year.
Well, apparently, Yellow Jackets was also nominated in the same category for Best New TV Series. So when we check it out, we'll find out why. But good for them.
Right.
And then Fear Street was also nominated for Outstanding TV Movie. So horror represented at the GLAAD Awards.
Horror
awesome.
Usually, horror usually is.
Yeah.
Horror's very progressive.
Horror's progressive, and they've always kind of had their gay. If they couldn't be outright gay allegory character, you
Nightmare
know.
on Elm Street 2, man. That's all I'm saying.
I love that movie.
That's all I'm saying.
I love it.
Yep.
All right, so we did have a lot of news going on this week, but the Sundance Film Festival is happening, and I took a look, and there's actually a lot of horror represented there, and there usually is, but it's a lot this time. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of go over some of the ones I found, give you a brief description, and that way you can look out for them in case they get picked up or bought or streaming somewhere.
I'm gonna take notes too.
Right. So these are the feature films I found that sounded kind of interesting. The first one is called Master. It's about 3 women trying to fit in an elite New England university when a supernatural force begins to emerge. Ooh. And they said that it was like a Black
Christmas?
No, racial inequality. Like it's a movie kind of like that, like Jordan Peele's type of movies, where it's got the message and everything in there. Is what I've read about it. Okay. Written and directed by Miriama Diallo. And starring Regina Hall, Zoe Renee, and Talia Ryder. And I love Regina Hall, so I'm down.
That's awesome.
And then the next one is called Something in the Dirt. And it's about a supernatural force is found out that can bring fame to 2 neighbors, but as they delve deeper to the plot, a dark force lurking under the city challenges their friendship. Ooh. And that's from indie filmmakers Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson. I feel like I've heard their names before, so I've probably seen something that they've done.
Could be. That does sound cool though, and and it's always interesting from indie filmmakers because that's where a lot of the new ideas are coming from.
Exactly.
So
a lot of new ideas, new scares, new ways of doing things. So that's cool. Exciting. The next one is called Duel. And not like Duel the truck, like Dual, like 2, Duel.
I was thinking they were really
no, they're not remaking Duel.
I don't know if I'm happy or sad.
That's why I was like, wait a minute, I better spell this. No, Duel like 2, like there's 2 of them.
Okay.
So a woman named Sarah is suffering from a terminal illness. She makes a clone to support her friends and family after her death. But when she does not die, what happens as 2 Sarahs compete to keep living in the world? Ooh, that sounds like some Black Mirror shit.
Yeah, it does sound like Black Mirror.
That sounds very Black Mirror. I'm down. It's directed by Riley Stearns, and that one's starring Karen Gillan and Aaron Paul.
Oh,
so
nice.
Oh, cool. Okay. Then we have The Watcher. And again, not remaking the Keanu Reeves movie.
I was like, wait a minute.
Which, did you hear about that? He got tricked into that. Apparently,
yes, I did hear about
somebody
that.
forged his name on there. Like, a friend of his forged his name on the contract, and he was like, well, I guess because he's a nice guy. He's like, I guess I'll do it. I'd have gone to court.
I saw that in theaters and it came out, and I was so disappointed. Because I was like, Keanu Reeves is a serial killer? Cool,
Should have been everything. It was nothing.
Yeah, you could tell he didn't want to be in that movie. You could tell in his just like in the new Matrix. You can tell Keanu's like,
I'm being held hostage.
Yep,
help.
ready to go home.
I just want to go back to John Wick.
Yeah.
So Watcher, it's about a young woman who, with her fiancé, has recently moved to a new apartment, but creepiness begins to creep in when she feels that she's being stalked by an unknown watcher. Ooh, okay. And that one's directed by Chloe Okuno and starring Maika Monroe.
Is that the second or third female director I've heard you say in here, too? At least 2.
2, yeah, so far.
Yeah,
there's another one in this one. So the next one is called Fresh. And this one I'm really interested in because Sebastian Stan's in it. But it's a romantic comedy horror film, which is interesting to me because I don't like romantic comedy.
But that's a good twist, though. I haven't thought of that.
Right. It's a film... romantic comedy horror film where 2 people have an adorable meet-cute that soon goes sour when she discovers that he has some unusual appetites.
Oh, shit.
I'm so down.
Is it vampire, maybe?
Or cannibal? Who knows?
Cannibal vampire?
It's directed by Mimi Cave, and it's starring Daisy Edgar Jones and Sebastian Stan.
Nice.
And he's the one playing this Psycho, so I'm down for Sebastian Stan plays Psycho.
Yeah, no, I watched that.
Now, this next one is called Speak No Evil. It looks like it's a foreign film. So it's the description's rather long, so bear with me. While on holiday in Tuscany, a Danish family becomes fast friends with a fellow traveling family from the Netherlands. Months later, when an invitation arrives encouraging the Danish family to visit the Dutch in their countryside home, they don't hesitate to plan a quick getaway. Free-spirited and adventurous, the Dutch welcome the Danes for the weekend, channeling an energy that rouses their visitors as drinks flow and they start to let loose. But what begins as an idyllic reunion soon takes a turn as the hosts increasingly test the limits of their house guests. Now the Danes find themselves caught in a web of their own politeness, trying to understand whether their new friends are merely eccentric or hiding something more sinister.
That could be cool.
Yeah, well, if it's already been picked up by Shudder, it must be really good. It's directed by Christian Taldrup. I'm sorry, Taldrup? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But Christian Taldrup, again, it'll be on Shudder at some point because AMC already purchased it for Shudder.
Very nice.
So the last two are short films that I found on there. The first one is called Bug Crush. It's about a small-town high school loner's fascination with a dangerously seductive new kid that leads him into something much more sinister than he ever could have imagined. Ooh. Directed by Carter Smith, starring David Tennant, which is why I was drawn to that one. I love David Tennant, you guys. Like, I would chain him up in my basement. Okay. Starring David Tennant, Harlan Baker, Josh Karras, Donald Cummings, Billy Price, and Eleanor Hendricks. And then the last one I want to talk about is the last short film, and it's called Chaperone. And it's an unnamed figure picks up a young man in his car. As the two drive together and settle into an austere rental house in the country, the details of their arrangement become guttingly clear. That one's directed by Sam Max and starring Zachary Quinto and Russell Kahn.
Very nice.
So that's like a lot of exciting stuff that's at Sundance.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to look forward to. And most of these, I'm sure, will end up on a streaming service
somewhere,
or maybe in theaters.
And if we hear about it, we'll let you know, because I want to see each and every one of these. They all sound cool. So.
Me too. That sounds great, actually.
Right.
It inspires me to make another horror
Right, we're going to have to... All right. All right, let's move on to Indie Film Spotlight.
My advice to young filmmakers, make a movie every week. Make films, no matter what anybody says, and you'll be a filmmaker.
All right, so I picked our movie. It's called Somnophobia. It was made last year in 2021 from Silver Hero Entertainment. And it's about a doctor with the ability to visit people's dreams, help a young woman confront the terrifying reality of her nightmare. Guys, I love this short. It was so good.
It was cool.
It was so good.
It was a little slow in the beginning, but the guy that plays
the doctor
is really good in it.
Chris Atto, Dr. Brady.
Yeah, it's a great concept. And I see it, again, like the way I used to make short films was I think it's a bigger concept, and they made a talkie to kind of like introduce the character and hopefully to go viral and stuff. And I think it looks fantastic.
It looks fantastic. Really it's shot production. Well. The Dr. Brady was so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think unlike Lights Out, where it was like one and done, we don't need a whole movie of this, and then they gave it to us anyway.
Right.
I could see a whole movie of this work. This could definitely be expanded out, and I'm here for it.
This could be a franchise, honestly, I think, because I think what he does is he doesn't even understand how he does it, but they keep calling him a voodoo priest, and he's like, I'm not a voodoo doctor, blah, blah,
he's
blah.
Like, I can go into people's dreams.
But he can go into people's dreams, and he sees their dreams. And
it seems like he helps them by, like, not only confronting whatever the creature that's haunting them in their dreams is, but also kind of unraveling it. Because, like, one of them... the old lady was she kept having nightmares of a zombie that was trying to pull her down in the dirt. Turns out that her son had just died a few months earlier in a car crash, and that was the reasoning behind what was haunting her. But what's funny is it seems like this guy, when he takes these creatures from their dreams, he collects them and can call them up and weaponize them.
Yeah.
And that's the cool part.
That's very cool. And I love the fact that the one guy, he says, what a lot of times scares us in our dreams could be something we saw as a child.
Yep.
And this thing that was haunting him in his dreams turned to be this witch that he's seen in a kid's movie.
One time.
And I love that idea.
And it's just
because that is
much.
so true. When I was growing up, you know what movie gave me nightmares? Star Trek 3.
Fox and the Hound.
Well... I mean, if you watch the latest...
Fuck that movie.
Yeah, if you watch the latest
For life,
Thanks You
fuck
Hate
that
It,
movie.
yeah, that one makes
It
sense.
did, though. It did give me nightmares.
I couldn't even edit the clips into that thing without
It's
feeling
so sad.
emotional.
It's
like,
so sad.
It's ridiculous. Like, who's this movie for? But anyways, but yeah, I love the concept of this. We don't want to spoil the rest of the movie.
No,
we want
we
you
won't
to
give it
watch
away.
it. Please watch it. It's only 25 minutes.
They made it on a $12,000 budget and
Oh.
filmed over 4 days in Pasadena, California. The writer, director, editor, producer is Dylan Vibart. And it was starring Chris Atto as Dr. Brady, which is that character we love. He's the dream guy. And then also Tatiana Marjanovic as Riley Rose and Atticus Hinckley as Brian Moore. So it is a very small cast.
Yeah.
So it, you know.
Which again, it's an indie film.
It's
and
about
you
15 minutes
yeah.
long. So it's not that long, guys. You can do this.
Yeah, no, it's and it is 25 minutes.
Is
long.
it 25?
Yeah, it is
I don't
25
know.
minutes. I don't want to.
I was so into
but
it
it's
that I
good,
didn't
though.
even realize.
Point well taken. That's a very, very good point. But it's very good. And the other actors, they have their moments where they kind of don't deliver as well as sometimes the other ones, but it's not terrible.
No, the
It's not
doctor is
terrible.
what the focus is, and he's fantastic.
And he's the one that they're mainly selling.
Yeah.
Clearly.
So they actually put a quote under their movie in the description, and it says, "Our goal was to not only showcase our filmmaking efforts on a limited budget, but to make a horror film with a deeper meaning. As big fans of the horror genre, we wanted to tell a compelling story that didn't just focus on the scares, but would rather be amplified by them." So I think they succeeded.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I really do. I think they have a concept here that could be really expanded on and made into a series of movies for sure.
I hope somebody from Hollywood is knocking on their door like, we wanna make a full movie of this. 'Cause
Yeah.
I would watch it.
Because it's almost like he's the yin to Freddy's yang, you know? And eventually they could fight.
Oh my God, he has to go get rid of Freddy from someone's
Yeah.
dreams. I would watch that so hard.
So, new line, you need to be
Right.
talking to these guys.
Yep, Dylan Vibart of Silver Hero Entertainment. Go find them because, yes, please.
Because think about it. You could make their own movie, and then in the sequel, or maybe at the end of the first one, you could tease like a little end credits thing about
Right,
Freddy.
like they tried with Jason Goes to
Yeah.
Hell.
Which was awesome.
Yeah. That was a great ending,
Yeah.
but then nothing ever came of it, so whatever.
Well, I mean, it did.
The right thing did not come of it.
A long time later.
I love Freddy vs. Jason, but
Yeah.
that is not a good movie, guys. Like, I love it, but it's not good.
It has its moments.
I get it. All right, so that's our
our
episode.
show? All right.
All right.
All right, that's our show for today, guys. Please like and subscribe. And thank you and welcome to all of our new subscribers.
This channel is where we try out all the new stuff. Hi,
Yeah.
guinea pigs.
That's right. But I just wanted to say thank you guys for coming over and joining us here. And I hope you're watching it and finding it entertaining. So with that, on that note, I'm going to shut up now.
Say goodnight, good fight. For the next 2 months, we'll be covering the baddies from the Scream series. And don't worry, I'm still working on a timeline to defense of Michael Myers, but with the new Scream movie coming out this month, it felt far more appropriate to focus on my more current clients.